A ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true. I'll go first.
All right, y'all. I'm a little spooked out. This is the second time I'm telling you the story with this trend. I tried to stitch her, and when I tried to stitch her, I recorded like 2.5 minutes of this video, and it was muted, and it would not let me turn the volume up. Okay, anyway, here's my story again. So, when I was, little backstory real quick. When I was in middle school, I had this group of friends where we would all stay at someone's house, and we would go out late at night and kind of just, you know, go do stupid kid stuff and run around the neighborhood. Because his mom was not really attentive, and she was her room was way upstairs, so we were able to sneak out easily. Anyways, so one day, we decided to make a Ouija board out of a cardboard box, and someone drew the numbers on it, whatever. We were being dumb kids. We just thought it would be fun to do because his house was haunted, so we wanted to see what was there, you know what I mean? And back then, we didn't have all the apps and devices that we have nowadays. Or at least we didn't have access to it. So, we're doing this thing, and it's like giving us a name and all this weird stuff. Like, we started doing it. We did the whole thing we had to do before we started, whatever. And we're doing it outside on his front porch because we didn't want to do it in the house. Anyways, so we're doing it, and it's giving us all this information. It ended up giving us this address that was down the street. So we ended up walking to this address, and the house was like not boarded up, but it basically was boarded up. Like, all the blinds were down. The house didn't have anything in the front yard. Very just plain, nothing going on. So that was number one thing that was like, okay, that's weird. It gave us a name and said he was like some kid that was like locked in the basement, and he passed away down in the basement, and like he had to eat his own, you know, stuff. Like, wasn't given food. It was just crazy. So like all this detail from this thing, from this Ouija board. And the Ouija board ended up, like, we told the kid, like, anytime anything negative is coming through, let us know so that we can say goodbye. So, like, occasionally the kid would move us up. We'd say, like, go to the moon or the sun, one of the two. So I'm just going to say the moon. He kept taking us to the moon every so often. And so we'd, like, you know, say goodbye, take our hands off. So that was already, like, weird that we kept having something negative come through. And finally, I'm getting, like, the goosebumps telling this story, you guys. Okay, so, anyway, so one night, we were at my friend's house, and I don't know if we played with the Ouija board that day or not, but we were standing by the front door about to go out and do our crazy kid stuff, and right before we leave, all of a sudden this pin, like, to point forward, came thrown right at my head and just barely missed me, like, barely grazed me. And we looked up, and there was nothing on the stairs. It was so spooky. And a little bit about my friend's house. So it was already a spooky house as is, because in my hometown, we have a lot of, like, Victorian houses, old Victorian houses. And he lived in one of the Victorian houses. So, like, right when you walk into your left, there's a living room, and in the living room, there were, like, porcelain dolls everywhere. Super spooky, and I don't know why his mom decorated like that, but she did. And, like, we'd have things happen to us at sleepovers, so that's why we ended up doing the Ouija board, because we kept seeing things, shadows. We all kept feeling like we were being watched and whatever, some crazy stuff, because we always stayed in the basement, right? Why would we do that? Because it was like a finished basement, so it wasn't awful. Anyways, so after a while, we started getting some really, like, threatening things on that Ouija board. Like, one of them was my friend saying that some bad things are going to happen. And within a few years of that, her brother passed away, her mom passed away, and I don't know if her dad was alive when we first were doing it. I don't think he was, but he died before that, unfortunately, so my friend's gone through a lot. And I don't know if it's related to the Ouija board or not, but we ended up burning the Ouija board and burying it, because I don't know if that was what you're supposed to do, but back then that's what my friend said we were doing, so we did it. Yeah, you guys, it was insane. Like, the things that we, like, were seeing, and, like, it was giving us, like, details on things, and we're like, what the heck, you know, like, was somebody moving their hand on it? Like, what's going on? So, yeah, that is my ghost story. Make sure you guys eat something, make sure you drink something, and y'all have a great rest of your day. Spooky!